Hi, everybody, and welcome to week 3 of the Confident PCOS Kitchen Challenge. This week is all about protein and how to add protein to your diet without becoming obsessive over it. A lot of times people feel like they have to only concentrate on protein, and while it is important, it's not the only important nutrient when it comes to PCOS. Hi, I am Maggie. I'm a registered dietitian. I'm also a fellow PCOS patient, and my specialty is PCOS, but also culinary nutrition and helping you to feel confident and relaxed in the kitchen and not feel overwhelmed about what to eat for PCOS. So this week I wanted to showcase a really simple high protein dinner, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what you're going to be getting this week in the challenge. So you would have gotten an email today outlining this week in the challenge. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, you can click the link below and sign up for our 3-week challenge. You'll get a series of emails with all the replays, all the handouts, recipe books, everything you need to help you implement. This challenge is not about changing everything in your life all at once. It's about making tiny little tweaks every week, every day, and have them compound on top of each other. So we started off with fuel, was really about fueling our body with whole foods and learning to add in more unprocessed foods, but also in a convenient way. So we looked at some processed foods that were still really good, really nutrient dense, if that makes sense. So make sure you check out that replay. The second week, we talked all about fiber and how we can add more fiber to the diet, why it's important for PCOS. So I sent you a handout earlier today, and it goes over what exactly protein is. I think it's important to understand why we need it for PCOS. It's for managing our symptoms and just overall health. Protein is one of those macronutrients. So we have carbs, protein, and fat. Everybody needs protein. Every cell in your body contains protein. It's in your muscles, it's in your bones, your skin, your hair, your internal organs. One of the most important things for protein is really helping to stabilize your blood sugar levels when it comes to PCOS, because those stable blood sugar levels, where we have blood sugars that are kind of like nice rolling hills instead of big spikes, protein will help kind of slow digestion down. So the blood sugar doesn't spike up, and then you don't have that big insulin spike. And then that's kind of where we get into trouble with the high insulin triggering your ovaries to release more testosterone. That's where we get our symptoms or irregular periods. And that high insulin level also can contribute to weight gain really easily. It also keeps you full and satisfied as well. It's very filling. Protein also has what we call a higher thermal effect on food. So, what does that actually mean? It means it actually takes more calories to break down protein than carbs and fats. So, you burn a little bit more energy by breaking it down and digesting it. So, that does help with weight loss. A high protein diet can be helpful for weight loss for those that are wanting to lose weight, but I will let you know that that's not the only dietary plan that works well for PCOS. So, it kind of depends on what you prefer. It is important though to get protein in throughout the day. So, one of the probably maybe the first thing, maybe the one thing you want to focus on this week is trying to break up your protein and have a consistent amount. So, have some at breakfast, lunch, and dinner instead of focusing a lot at just one meal a day, like at the end of the day. Protein's also needed for building and repairing muscles and tissues, making our hormones and enzymes. It's also critical for supporting that immune system and carrying oxygen in your blood. And of course, we're going to need it throughout our whole lifespan. One of the sections in the ebook is how much do you need? And this can depend on so much. So I just want to put a caveat in there. It kind of depends on your age, your activity level, your other medical conditions, any medications that you're on. Generally, the range of protein is going to be 10 to 35% of your calories coming from protein. And that is like a huge range. Most of my patients for PCOS, I recommend we start off with like 25% of our calories coming from protein, as long as you don't have any other contraindications, and see how much that is and see if that's doable. You might need to go more if you're taking a GLP-1 medication, like a Mounjaro, Wegovy, or Ozempic. You do need to concentrate on getting that protein in to help support that muscle mass, to maintain your muscle mass. So make sure that you do, if you're interested in knowing exactly how much, You want to talk to your registered dietitian or your healthcare provider to find out exactly how much you need. Now, there are different types of proteins I think are important to know about. Not all proteins are the same. So we have complete proteins, which have all the essential amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein, and there are 9 that we have to get in from food. We cannot make them. So these are generally found in animal products that have complete proteins. That means they have all essential 9 amino acids. Tofu and quinoa are complete proteins. Incomplete proteins are low in either one or more of the essential amino acids. That means that food doesn't have all the amino acids. You can still meet your needs by combining them. Beans are going to be missing one amino acid, but rice has that amino acid that the beans are missing. So they complement each other. So together, you're going to have that complete protein. So rice and beans, peanut butter on whole wheat bread, hummus with pita bread and vegetables. That combination will give you all the amino acids. You also don't have to eat the complementary proteins at the same meal. It's important to have a variety of protein-rich foods throughout the day. You don't have to eat meat at the same time. So if you have beans at one meal, rice at another, or bread at another, or peanut butter, that will still count. But if you are looking for more muscle building, you might want to try to have those complete proteins at the same time, especially post-workout. Okay, I'm going to be sending you a list of high protein foods. It's a list that shows 30 grams of protein. What does that look like when it comes to animal proteins? And then a list of different plant-based proteins. I like having that combination in the diet because those plants provide so much fiber. Some high protein foods, some animal-based ones are going to be like chicken, turkey, eggs, tuna, Greek yogurt, cheese, and milk. Now, some people tolerate dairy, some people don't. It's not necessary when you have PCOS to eliminate it unless you don't feel good. If you consume a lot of dairy and it worsens your symptoms, then you might want to lessen it. But there's no research to say like you have to eliminate it right off the bat. Plant-based proteins, I think this is one that people really underutilize, especially right now with grocery prices, because getting maybe 4 to 6 ounces of protein at a meal is very expensive. So you can reduce that quantity of animal-based proteins and kind of make up and add in maybe another 10 to 18 grams of protein at a meal with a little bit of plant-based protein. So you could add some beans or lentils or legume or add tofu to a dish, kind of extend it. Lentils, again, are the heavy hitters for fiber, but also for protein. You're going to get 18 grams just from 1 cup of cooked lentils. Chickpeas, black beans, tofu, edamame, and that's a really great, easy, convenient food that you can keep in the freezer. Quinoa, you can keep that in like little bags. You can microwave it or keep it frozen. Peanut butter, almonds, things like that. Can you get too much protein? You can get too much protein, so I don't want you to think you can only eat protein. You want to make sure you talk to your healthcare providers to make sure that you don't have any contraindications about getting too much protein, whether you have kidney disease or something like that. One thing that people need to be aware of is that a really high protein diet causes constipation and gut issues. And what happens also is when you only focus on the protein, usually people stop eating a lot of produce or whole grains, right? And then we're reducing the amount of fiber and vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and phytochemicals and all those nutrients that are going to help reduce inflammation in the body. That fiber is going to feed your gut microbiome. That's going to help improve your immunity. It's also going to help improve the inflammation in the body, which is going to help reduce the insulin resistance. And antioxidants and phytochemicals from these plants have actually been shown to help improve fertility as well. So, one thing is to make sure, like, yes, we want protein, but we don't want to sacrifice our fruits, our vegetables, and our whole grains in order to get that in. So it's really all about creating a balance. So if you are a PCOS meal prep membership member, we have that whole PCOS nutrition course inside the membership, and we have the whole course about the plate and how to make balanced meals. But if you are not part of the membership and you're watching this as part of the challenge, I do have a free PCOS course that really kind of shows you like what to be eating and how to create those balanced meals. And I'll make sure I send out the link this week as well. The high protein meal that I was going to make, I'm going to make a build and bake cod with pesto and vegetables. It's a 20-minute meal and I love it because I'm going to just make everything in one big dish. And I think that's helpful for me because I cook a lot and I make a lot of dishes usually, and I hate it and I really struggle to keep up. So trying to simplify my meals into one pot, one vessel, one sheet pan is helpful for me. I also need quick dinners too. Tomorrow is like our gymnastics night. So I'm prepping this up because tomorrow I'm going to throw it in the oven. So I want to show you what we're going to need for this. So I've got some zucchini here. I live in Florida, so I'm pretty lucky with like produce wise, but you could use any green vegetable. You could use broccoli, you could use peppers, you could use green beans. I think really any soft vegetable, cabbage would actually work really well too. I've got some cherry tomatoes. I'm going to add one of these because we had them at the farmer's market. I want to use them up. I've got a red onion diced already because I didn't want to cry in front of you guys. And that's going to be our veggies. And we're going to be using cod tonight. So I have 2 pounds of cod fish. Now, you could use thin chicken breasts. That will just help you, it will cook really quickly, or even chicken tenders, like already cut up. That's even easier. You could use shrimp. You could use tilapia, salmon, any kind of fish that you like, fresh or frozen. It doesn't really matter. You could even use tofu too. And then we have some pre-bought pesto, some olive oil, salt, and pepper, and you can add capers if you'd like. So I am just going to grab this 9 by 13 inch pan, and I'm going to start just adding everything in. I'm going to show you. So I'm putting down. So this is like half of a giant red onion. And to that, I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Now, to this meal, you could serve it with some like crusty bread or whole grain rice or quinoa if you wanted to, or just have it as is. So this is kind of like what we do in the meal prep membership. Every Monday night we get together and we do some meal prep. You pick out the recipes. I usually do 2 or 3 and I kind of just prep along with you. I put some oil in there. I'm just going to go ahead and start cutting up my zucchini. For this, it's going to cut off the ends. I already have it washed. Zucchini is a vegetable that I find like it doesn't have that much of a taste. So whatever you add to it, it's going to taste delicious. I'm just going to do diagonal cuts to make it look pretty. By using a store-bought pesto, it's quick and easy and adds a really big flavor punch to a vegetable that's kind of boring, like zucchini on its own. You could use a different flavor if you have a favorite sauce. I think chimichurri would also be really good with this, and Trader Joe's has a great version. A bruschetta sauce, they have one there too. That would be delicious. I don't peel my zucchini. I want to make sure I have that green color because that green is going to provide those antioxidants. I also love using the purple onion because that purple is going to give you the anthocyanins, which really helps reduce inflammation. And purple is a very hard color to get into your diet. And we talked more about color and the antioxidants when we talked about fiber last week. So of course, I'll be sending out a lot of emails this week with extra recipes in there and a recap, and they'll have the videos for last week's sessions as well. The cherry tomatoes are going to provide some lycopene. When cooked, it concentrates even more, which is great. And the olive oil that I added will help absorb that lycopene because certain nutrients, certain vitamins and antioxidants, you're going to need some fat to help absorb that. So if you don't like tomatoes, then you just pick a different vegetable that you might like instead. I also think that this would be delicious with feta on top of it. So I might end up adding that to this dish. Because I have this extra tomato, I'm going to add it. And so you could use like aroma tomato like this. You could use the little cherry tomatoes, or if you have like a beefsteak tomato, it really doesn't matter. Okay, I'm just gonna move this aside so we can see the rest. So I have the veggies, the zucchini, the onions, and the tomatoes. And I have my prepared pesto. I'm just gonna open it. I need a total of a half a cup of this. So I'm just gonna scoop it out, measure it. And then into the vegetables right now, I want to put 2 tablespoons. The rest I am just going to set off to the side real quick because I'm going to use it on top of my fish. So we're just going to toss this pesto. It has a little bit of oil, which will help kind of create a dressing. So if you're used to using pesto as just for the pasta, you could actually like cook some pasta and dump it in here too. That would be delicious too. But think of using flavors, seasonings, herbs, spices, dressings as a way to enhance vegetables. Because on their own, it's like they're okay, but with the pesto and maybe a little bit of feta, it's going to be so much more delicious. Okay, so that's our base. And for the protein, I'm going to be using cod. It's a fish that my family really enjoys. You could use fresh, you could use frozen. It's also a very quick cooking protein. So this dinner takes about, I think it says it's 20 minutes in the oven. Yeah, 20 minutes in the oven and then you have dinner. And this is kind of like a special dinner, but you could definitely use the tilapia or salmon or frozen versions too. So I've got some nice, beautiful pieces of cod. I'm not even going to cut it up. I think that's like one more thing I would you need to do, and I'm not going to do that because I want this to be like a really easy dinner. All right. So I've got that, and this is how I'm going to make it taste really delicious, is I'm just going to spread this pesto on top. So this week I'll be sending you a recipe pack as well with some high protein meals recipes, and there'll be some cooking videos along with those recipes. It'll be a variety of some breakfast items. I got a couple like high protein dessert ideas, high protein meals, just to give you some new ideas around it. That looks so beautiful. And using a little bit of that pesto is going to make a huge difference in that flavor of that fish. So this is when I would pop it in the oven, but part of my meal prep for the week is I'm gonna put some saran wrap on this and I'm gonna pop it in my fridge. And then tomorrow when I'm at gymnastics, my husband's gonna put it into the oven. So when I get home, dinner is gonna be done. Okay. So let me see what else I wanted to cover tonight. I sent out the ebook earlier. Oh, I wanted to go over some tips for adding in more protein throughout the day. One of the handouts I'm going to be sending out will be a handout that shows you what does 30 grams of protein look like, and then another one that shows you the amount in plant-based protein so you can get an idea. Adding in protein doesn't have to be complicated. You could add things like eggs or cottage cheese or blend cottage cheese into your eggs. You can even add eggs into an oatmeal and it's called like a protein oatmeal. You can add nut butter or Greek yogurt. Breakfast is adding in like hemp seeds to things. So I'll sprinkle that on yogurt or add it into oatmeal. That is a great way to boost protein. You could also do chia seeds or flax seeds. With lunch, sometimes canned beans can be one of the best ways to add it in because it's really quick and easy and convenient. You could add some extra beans or tofu or lean meats to your soups, your salads, your sandwiches. Trying hummus as a spread on a sandwich is a great way to boost protein intake as well. And then for dinner, you could utilize even convenient proteins. So the first week we talked about some convenience items. So even like frozen fish, canned fish, like a tuna or a canned salmon or salmon burgers. Those are all great ways of getting in some protein, some with extra omega-3s, which are going to be great for your heart, but also for reducing that inflammation in the body. Another thing you could look at is to what you're already making, you could look at mixing in some quinoa, some lentils, or black beans to the dish. When it comes to snacks, that could be an area where you could add in some protein where you can snack on nuts or hard-boiled eggs or even deviled eggs and kind of make a deviled egg with guacamole or hummus and then kind of restuff it. String cheese, protein-rich smoothies, and a great way of adding protein in besides like a protein powder or yogurt is you could also blend in silken tofu into a smoothie, which sounds weird, but it actually works really well. And it's kind of like zucchini where it's magical and it just takes on the flavor of whatever you put it in. So that's an easy way. And then you could add in keep trail mix or roasted chickpeas for crunch, but it's also a shelf stable protein that you could keep on hand. So in the ebook I sent out, you have some smoothie recipes, you have some snack recipes, lunch, dinner ideas, really to help you implement this week. So I'd love for you to pick out one maybe meal or snack that you want to concentrate on and make sure you are getting some protein in. When it comes to portion sizes, I usually recommend if you can get in 30-ish grams at a meal, that's wonderful. Some people may have like, it depends on how the food comes, right? So it's hard to like, what is 30 grams? I kind of look at it a few ways. You could say you have like a food label, you could look at 30 grams, or if you know how many ounces it is, I say 4 to 6 ounces of protein. Or if you don't have any of that, you could just say like palm of your hand is a good way to gauge at least the size of that. That could be one of your goals this week, or you could try out one of those recipes. That could be one of the goals this week. I will see you hopefully soon, and everybody have a wonderful night. Bye.